Corey Brada from the Hawkeye of the Storm makes it go here for us each and every Tuesday at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 where it counts. Corey, how you doing today?
Doing great, Mark. Feels like football finally. I mean, I shouldn't say finally. It's mid-July. To me, it feels like football. I think I'm a little more amped for it earlier than I was this time last year. There are reasons for that. I had some conversations with actually a good friend of mine who does some sponsorships on the show. And I think sometimes when you have those conversations a little early, that kind of gets your blood going. So excited. You got SEC Media Days going, right? Is it done or is it still going?
Oh, still going. We have just begun.
Do they do a whole week down there? Do they?
It is 4 days. 4.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, Big 12 Media Days is behind us, and got to hear from Spencer Petras over at Utah State last week. So it sounds like he's ready to go. They got a weird situation.
Hopefully, Corey will notice that he froze and will jump back on with us. So we do have a special guest coming on today, Ryan Herrings, who is with Locked On Badgers on the Locked On Network to talk about Wisconsin-Iowa football and the matchup as we go through our opponents throughout the offseason. This is something we've done the last few summers here at the Voice of College Football on all the channels as we have previewed the upcoming games with the opponents series. So again, we've got Wisconsin on tap. We've looked at Minnesota in a previous week. Corey, you're back.
I got these construction people outside my house just blaring, and who knows what lines they're hitting. So I could just be in and out all day. But anyways, as it relates to Utah State, I was talking about Petras talking to the media. I know you can't cover all 130 whatever FBS schools, but that is a situation I wish you would address on your channel, because I think it's just very odd timing. And of course, you had the Pat Fitzgerald thing last year that was odd timing as well. But with what happened there, I think Title IX related, and now all of a sudden they don't have a head football coach, or at least they don't have the guy that Petras thought was going to be the head football coach. So that's just yet another challenge for Petras to overcome. And he's had a few. I'll give him that. He's had to figure out a way to overcome some stuff in his career, and we'll see how he does. Kind of the final test of his long career.
Corey does a nice job of running his channel and running my channel at the same time.
You're welcome, Mark. I'll be here all day.
I appreciate all the suggestions that you believe that I should take off on. I do.
Well, Utah State, no, I think that would do okay. You probably think it would just tank.
Yes.
But there is an Aggie fan base out there.
Oh, there is. They just don't know I exist.
Well, we need to change that. So
okay. All right.
I'll work on that for you.
But it is an interesting story. Yes. Yeah.
So, and there was some media availability today. I was not there, but thanks to people like Tom Kakert on 3 and some of his comrades, I think some other people in the Iowa media posted some stuff, was able to get some of that video content. Kate McNamara spoke to the media. Brendan Sullivan spoke to the media. Jacob Gill was there. Jennings Dunker was there. Deshaun Lee was there. So I was doing a nice job throughout and they normally do. I give them credit. Sports Information does a good job making guys available throughout the off season, throughout summer workouts. And we're getting real close now to fall camp, less than a month away from our open scrimmage and media day. And Cade says he's 100%. And contrary to what our good friend Levi Stevenson would report, he's been 100% for the last month plus, he says. And, whatever that means, I will say this. The one thing that I took away from his media availability was that he stated that he is going to be wearing a brace this year on his plant leg. He doesn't think he needs it. It's been suggested that he wear it. And so he is going to wear it. I'd have to go back. I get the two legs confused, right? Because he has torn both. And then he also had that injury that caused him to have to wear a brace preseason last year and then into the first few games. So I'd have to go back and remember which leg he was wearing the brace on last year. I thought that really hampered his mobility. How much of that was actually the equipment, the actual brace, and how much of it was the injury? I don't know. We'll find out, but I'd have to think that's going to hurt his mobility. So that would be the one thing that I took away from the availability with Cade McNamara, is that apparently he's going to be wearing a brace all year. So that's just another mark for Sullivan if we're talking about the mobility contest. I think Sullivan's already got an edge on Cade running the football and getting out of the pocket, but that's not going to help. You can tell Brendan Sullivan, speaking with the media, he's a pretty quiet kid, I think. He's not... He and Cade are very much different in how they approach speaking. Cade is not to say that they're not both intelligent. I mean, I'd be foolish to claim that a guy who just transferred from Northwestern isn't intelligent. So certainly Brendan Sullivan is, but you can tell Cade, I think he enjoys the spotlight a little bit. I do. I think he enjoys the spotlight. I'm trying to think of a word to describe how he kind of approaches that, but it seems like Brendan Sullivan may be more of a, hey, I'm just going to put my work in, be pretty quiet, and get the job done. I'd say the one thing that I took away from availability as it relates to Sullivan, Jennings Dunker told the media that Dunker will get to the facility at like 6:30 to eat, and Brendan Sullivan will have already been there for like an hour. So he's getting there like 5:30. And that's what Jacob Gill said as well, that he's always been that way, that his quarterback, who, by the way, was his roommate since day one at Northwestern, is his roommate at Iowa now, that apparently Brendan Sullivan's just a hard worker, first guy in, last guy out. That fits right into the Kirk Ferentz mold. So, from a verbal standpoint, you hear the two talk, you're like, Cade kind of talks like an Iowa quarterback, like a Kirk Ferentz quarterback. But then you hear that and it's like, okay, Sullivan's probably the type of guy that's just more so, hey, I'm going to put in the work. Not that Cade doesn't put in work, but you get what I'm saying. Stylistically, there are differences there on and off the field, it appears.
Well, didn't Cade made some fairly brash statements, not anything inappropriate in any way, but didn't he make a few kind of braggadocious kind of claims when he first signed with Iowa? I thought he did.
Are you claiming that he's maybe a little cocky?
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's fair. I don't want to make that sound negative. I think having a bit of a chip on your shoulder and having confidence is good. I do think, I believe very much in the biblical adage, pride is before a fall. So I think there's got to be balance there. And so humility is a very important quality. And as it relates to leadership as well. So I'm not saying he doesn't have that. I don't know. But I do think he's a little edgy. And it'll be interesting to see how he handles real competition. He didn't have real competition last year when he got here. He was the promised son. And now he's got a guy who should be gunning for his job. And hey, unless I'm feeling really secure and whole about myself, Mark, it could be easy to become a little insecure when the guy that's nipping at my heels is getting into the facility before everybody else. That might, that would put a little fire under me. And if it doesn't put a fire into Cade, then maybe he'll lose the job. I mean,
I would have thought that his audition and competition with JJ McCarthy would have humbled him a bit, because that was not close.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, I don't know Cade off the field, and I've had like one conversation with him very briefly at Media Day. What I would say, my observations from Cade McNamara are that he has taken that experience at Michigan. And I think it's foolish of me to even suggest that there wasn't a degree of humility that he likely, whether he wanted it or not, ascertained due to the experience. He was probably humbled to some extent. But I also think when you had another Big Ten program that came pining for him the way Iowa did, not saying that Kirk was on his knees asking Cade to come to Iowa, but it was clear that he was their guy all along. And the way the fan base reacted, right? Almost like he was the promised son. I think from that regard, it's almost like maybe that switched a little bit from take a humble step back. And then you see some of the animosity there's a lot of Michigan fans that just rip him on social media. I don't get it. I see it a lot. I don't acknowledge it anymore. I think it's stupid. But hey, these are kids. They see that stuff, and then he probably feels like he got the short end of that stick. From his perspective, he may look at that, Mark, and say, I should have kept the job. I don't care where JJ McCarthy was drafted. I don't care what he accomplished. I was better. And from a competitor's standpoint, that's good that you have that mindset. I think we all know he wasn't, he didn't deserve to keep the job over a guy who was as talented as JJ McCarthy, and that's reflected in how NFL scouts viewed him and drafted him. So, but I wonder if Cade maybe took that and created that little bit more of a chip. Even I don't know what he was like at Michigan, but I think he's maybe a little bit edgier now. Maybe the second injury, affected him as well. He's been through a lot. You think about those injuries and losing the job. And now imagine he loses the job this year. Imagine if that happens. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I want the best guy to win the job. But that's a lot of adversity. But it's also, hey, may the best man win.
I would think that these Michigan fans would have a warm spot in their heart for Cade McNamara. When he led them to a Big Ten championship, they had not won one since 2004.
They also hadn't beaten Ohio State since when? I mean,
2011. I try to discard that win, though. But
you know what? You get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the infamous call, wasn't it?
No, there was an interim coach for Ohio State.
That was the Ryan Day year.
So they haven't beaten Ohio State since 2003 before that.
Was that the Fickle year then?
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they hadn't beaten Ohio State in that long. So I would think that I got a good friend of mine who's an Ohio State fan. Other than you're also a good friend. But to me, the people that I talk to who are Ohio State, Michigan fans, that's the big game. And he helped lead them to a win that year, and to the Big Ten championship and to the college football playoffs. I don't get it. I don't know why you have to hate somebody on their side. It's like these people that date someone, and because they break up, hatred is just like a prerequisite. There has to be hatred, Mark.
Yeah.
Like, because I dated you and we no longer are a couple, because it didn't work out, I hate you. Like, I've never understood that. Courtship, a successful courtship, does a successful courtship always end in marriage? You tell me.
No, not if the best outcome for both people is for them to part, if they are not the right fit.
Yeah. So I guess my analogy here with Michigan is that courtship, that relationship was in some sense very positive and healthy. A lot of great things came of that experience for Cade, and the education he got, what he helped Michigan go to, and it eventually ended. But hey, I don't know why people fans are going to be fans. I don't know why they behave the way they do.
Yeah, and another aspect of that is I would not think that a fan base would blame the player when the player lost his position and then decided to leave. It's not as though Cade McNamara just took off.
So DDR256 says that Cade burned bridges with things he said later. Yeah, I don't know about that. I know Eric All said some stuff later about how he felt he was treated after going down with the injury. But, I mean, give me a break. Guy says a few words. He's frustrated. He led you to a Big Ten championship. All those things that outweighs all the things that he helped you do. And if you're not going to give him credit for the things that he helped you do as the quarterback, as a starting quarterback, then you just don't understand the game.
Let me ask you this, Corey. In the two sessions with Mac and with Sullivan, were they presented with the situation of a quarterback battle?
No, not really. The only thing that I heard specifically asked of Cade was how he's getting along with Brendan, how Brendan's performing, and there was just little mention, just that he thinks that they call him Sully, is doing a good job since he's gotten here, and he's a hard worker. That's about it.
If I'm showing up for those interviews, I'm asking them about, in some fashion, I'm asking about a quarterback battle.
I mean, what do you ask? What are you going to say? To some extent, like, are you in a quarterback battle? Yes.
Do you believe that this is a out in the open, wide open quarterback battle?
You're going to ask the players that? You're going to ask the actual players that are in that battle? You're going to say, do you believe it's a wide open battle? I mean, I'm guessing they would each answer from a politically correct standpoint. They'd each say, yeah, I'm here to compete and play, but whatever's best for the team. But I know, I get it. I would ask that question. I'll ask that question at media day. Somebody didn't get to it first. Maybe somebody asked that today and I missed it.